Moscow's new architectural landmark, Zaryadye Park, has already been included in Time's list of the world's 100 greatest places.
It's a very beautiful place. Great architecture, innovative engineering solutions.
The Pushkin Museum, Russia's premier venue for international exhibitions.
Over the past 2 years, we've had 2 fascinating exhibition projects.
Underground palaces. Let's go down into the Moscow subway. Moscow, as seen by travellers on today's episode of Capital Ideas Life. Hi there, I'm John Harrison. Today we're beginning our programme right here in probably what's now the most famous place in Moscow. It's called Zaryadye Park. And I'm standing on a bridge. It's a pretty unique bridge. It's called the Floating Bridge. And it can accommodate thousands and thousands of people at the same time. People from all over the place, tourists, foreigners, and of course Muscovites who come here to take pictures of themselves and basically enjoy the views of Moscow, both old Moscow and new Moscow. And this is the concert hall Zaryadye, which Moscow received as a birthday present a few years ago. And as you can see, it's pretty booked up. In fact, it's booked up for 3 years in advance. But tell us more about this. I'm going to talk to the director of the concert hall, Olga Zhukova. Hello, Olga.
Hello, John.
It's a pretty amazing hall you got here. I've heard you had some pretty well-known engineers and architects working on this project for a few years, but how did it actually turn out?
I think it turned out great. Obviously, we've been open for only 2.5 months now, and a concert hall is like a complex clockwork that demands constant attention and fine-tuning. The concert hall opened on September 8th, and after a couple of months here, I can positively say that it has turned out great. Of course, thanks to Moscow's talented engineers.
Welcomes representatives of world music, classical and modern music. Who are you expecting in the near future?
Planning for each new concert season starts long before it ever begins. Plans are made not just for a week or a month, they are made about 3 years in advance. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to offer our visitors such world-renowned names, because this takes a lot of planning. We're expecting the magnificent mezzo-soprano Joyce Didonato. She'll give 2 concerts, one in late November and the other in early December. And I think we've prepared a mind-blowing New Year's programme for this year.
And what do foreign performers think about coming here and performing here? What's it like for them?
Obviously, the foreign artists we invite are used to giving performances in all the best venues around the world. But when they come to Moscow and see this unique concert hall for the first time, all they can say is, wow, because this place is truly on par with the Paris Philharmonic, the Elbe Philharmonic in Hamburg, and many other leading venues around the globe. I think they are surprised and amazed by our country, as well as this fine concert hall. At first, they cannot even believe what they see here.
And is this place kind of adapted for foreign visitors, for foreigners? I mean, I've seen signs in English, but apart from that, what else?
All the direction signs in our concert hall have been translated into English. No exceptions. Even engineering rooms. Everything is in English. That's the first. And the second is that our ushers, most of our staff actually, they speak English. This means that every English-speaking guest can always find help here. It was actually one of our hiring requirements. We needed people who speak English and are open to the world, so that everyone can feel comfortable here.
I've read that you're going to have some amazing new organ installed here. Organs are pretty unique instruments. They usually produce amazing sounds. What's so good about this new organ, and when can I listen to it?
We have the front part already installed. The actual organ assembly will begin next year, and then we will need to voice the organ, that is, to properly tune all its pipes, which will take about half a year to complete. So I think that, with God's help, we'll be ready to welcome you to the inaugural concert by the end of 2019. You should definitely attend.
Thanks a lot, I'll definitely come. Zaryadye Park, the new centre of attraction for both Moscow visitors and locals. During the first year after its opening, the park welcomed some 12 million visitors. Its unique landscape represents different climatic regions across Russia, such as steppe, grasslands and tundra.
The concept of this park was conceived by an international consortium. Its architectural and landscaping solutions were developed by the American design studio Stanislavski and Renfro. We invited a large group of experts from various disciplines, such as anthropologists, sociologists, and media professionals, who all helped us build a socio-cultural model, which we then used to design this park. I speak on behalf of the entire consortium. We are very happy to participate in this project. It is a historical project for this wonderful city. We are happy to be part of the efforts towards creating such an amazing public space for Moscow residents. Zaryadye Park is not just a free public space, it also features spectacular nature scenes. From time to time, everyone who lives in a city wants to connect with nature and enjoy beautiful landscape views, which we can in this amazing park.
Nature really plays the leading role in this park. Its benches blend harmoniously with birch trees and its granite tiles are intertwined with green grass. It's an island of tranquility in the very heart of a huge metropolis.
This is a truly beautiful place. It features great architecture and innovative engineering solutions, state-of-the-art multimedia facilities, and rich cultural programming. Zaryadye Park is not merely a place for recreation and entertainment. We are also working hard to offer our visitors diverse and compelling educational programs.
At Zaryadye, you can really get charged up with knowledge. Its education centre, called Conservation Embassy, offers courses, quests and lab practicals in multiple scientific disciplines. The Conservation Embassy also houses the Florarium, a glass-roofed greenhouse with an artificial climate created specifically for growing warmth-loving plants. All the plants here are grown without even a single grain of soil, using the latest aeroponic technologies. You can also visit a corner of the far north right here in the heart of the city. It took engineers over a month to build these remarkable frozen structures. By the way, the lifetime of natural ice caves is quite short, only one season. They are formed in June in the Arctic and November in the Antarctic, when the warm season begins on either of the poles. Unlike natural ones, this ice cave is one of the permanent exhibits at the Conservation Embassy. The Zaryadye Concert Hall features unique architecture and acoustics. It blends nicely with the park's landscape. The glass dome and amphitheatre are also part of the concert hall. In winter, special equipment is used here to raise the ambient temperature by 10 degrees so the park's visitors won't get cold. By the way, one of the walls serves as a media facade. It's used for broadcasting everything that happens on the stage inside, so guests outside will feel as if they are at a real concert. Marianna Pizzolato, the famous Sicilian mezzo-soprano, is visiting Russia for the 4th time. She has already performed at the Tchaikovsky Concert Hall and the Bolshoi Theatre. It will be her first performance at the Zaryadye Concert Hall.
I have to say that it's amazing, and the most amazing thing is the acoustic. It's perfect acoustic for singers. This all make singers happy, actually.
This large hall has 1,560 seats. The concert hall not merely features unique acoustics, which, by the way, were created via special wall panels, Within 40 minutes, the stage and the parterre can be transformed into a completely flat common space. Adjustable seat rows and orchestra pit levels make creating different hall configurations absolutely possible.
I'm here for the first time, and I'm happy to know that now Moscow has such a unique concert hall that can meet any possible needs of the musicians who come to perform here. I truly like how this hall sounds. The sound is exceedingly rich. And the stage, it can rise and move to the sides. This is what we came up with for the first performance here.
Tickets for premieres sell out faster than the speed of light, and the concert schedule is already filled up for 3 years ahead.
We've just walked in, and this place is amazing. We'd like to come here for the New Year's concert on December 31st. This place is very beautiful, majestic, bright, elegant, magnificent. We like it here a lot. I'm here for the first time. I like it very much. It's bright, spacious and gorgeous. It has so much air and such a pleasant atmosphere. The biggest impression is of course the location. This concert hall is in the very center of Moscow, not far from the Kremlin. And its architecture is simply amazing. There's a lot of free space. Everything here is modern and the stage is beautiful.
There is indeed no other stage like this in all of Russia. Its transformation features makes it possible to host virtually any kind of event, from classical music concerts to postmodern productions. Zaryadye Park is on Time's list of the world's 100 greatest places. Moscow now has another architectural landmark. Unlike most parks, Zaryadye stays open even at night, so you can enjoy its beautiful views at any time. Good afternoon, Mr. Cheryomin. Thank you for finding time for us. You must have a very busy schedule. Could you please tell us about what place culture has in Moscow's daily life? Does it help during times of political and economic difficulties, which no doubt exist?
Moscow is an established cultural center. We have hundreds of museums, theaters and parks. And in recent years, many of them have been given brand new faces. There are so many places where people can spend time. Moscow has almost 10,000 restaurants, serving cuisines to suit any kind of taste. This is, of course, very important for our international guests. Moscow can offer a wide range of events, exhibitions and festivals. And it is no coincidence that Moscow is considered to be the best place in the world for festivals. The city was recently awarded this nomination by experts from the United States. I think that all this affects how the Russian capital is perceived, because Moscow has recently been breaking all the records in terms of the number of visitors coming here. According to the Discovery Channel and magazine, Moscow is one of the most attractive destinations around the world. All this is the result of the recent improvements of the city's urban environment.
It's winter, and as far as I know, the preparations for the journey to Christmas are already underway. Can you tell us a little about that, please?
The journey to Christmas is arguably the largest Christmas festival in the world. Usually, there are some events in almost all squares downtown in the city center. and they attract huge crowds. Last year, we had more than 14 million visitors, and I think that the festival will be just as successful this year. I can promise you a lot of beautiful light displays, Christmas trees, cheerful moods, concerts, and of course, Christmas markets. I hope we will see many foreign guests this year. Moscow is becoming an increasingly popular destination. Just look at the tremendous number of fans who came to the Football World Cup, and how they all have been telling others how nice, friendly, and hospitable our city is. This is why we are expecting millions of new visitors at our Christmas festival.
This year, one of the most popular festivals, Moscow City Day, attracted 5 million visitors. The city's venues offered various cultural and entertainment events. Moscow visitors and locals enjoyed many music events and genres, from the latest pop hits to classical music. Everyone enjoyed the dancing. Different master classes from classical ballet to hip-hop were offered to everyone on Tverskaya Street. The festivities continued until morning, and the Moscow Metro and Central Circle rail line were open all night. Well, here we are at the Bolshoi Theatre. It's kind of the hallmark, the trademark of ballet in Russia, and it's got a pretty interesting history, I can tell you. This is actually the Bolshoi's fourth home. The previous three were all burnt down. The first one was in 1812 as Napoleon's troops approached Moscow and the old city was destroyed by fire. Now, you might be thinking how many people work here. There's about 3,000 people work. It's a pretty big operation at the moment. It's not always been like that. When it started 240 years ago, there were only 43 actors and a couple of organisers working here. And it's a pretty well-known place. It's even on the Russian ruble. Just have a look at this. Now, ballet, of course, is not the only thing that goes on in this city. There's also a lot of theatres, a really active theatrical life. There's 250 theatres now in this city, and some of them are actually in very interesting places. Since the beginning of the 19th century, this building housed a factory that produced thin gold and silver threads, which were used for ceremonial clothing and uniform. The factory was owned by the Alexeyev merchant dynasty. In the late 19th century, the position of factory manager was held by the great-grandson of the famous merchant Konstantin Alexeyev, better known to us today by the name Stanislavski. 10 years ago, the restored factory building became the home of the theatrical art studio under the direction of Sergei Zhenovach.
We've been wandering from stage to stage for 2 years. We played at the Moscow Art Theatre, the Meyerhold Center, and the different stages of the Mayakovsky Theatre. And then, 2 years later, after this amazing building had been finished under the direction of our production designer, Alexander Borovsky, we moved in. And we've been happy here for almost 10, yes, more than 10 years now.
The repertoire of the theatre features plays by classical authors such as Gogol, Dostoevsky, Chekhov, Bulgakov and Platonov. The troupe often goes on tour, both in Russia and abroad.
Our latest guest performances included a tour around the Baltic countries. Mikhail Baryshnikov invited us to come over to the US with our legendary play, The Boys, based on Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov. We gave about 5 to 7 performances, both in New York City and at the Sarasota Festival. What's good about guest performances is that they can give a play a second wind. And it's not even about going on tour abroad, because every city has its own unique audience. Europeans, and especially Americans, they're almost obsessed with Stanislavski's system. They call it the method. It's like a cornerstone. Our foreign colleagues are always highly surprised to hear that very few of us have actually even read Stanislavski. Sure, everybody here knows about his system, but they simply cannot understand how this could be. And we say, yeah, well, we all know it from working with our teachers. Although, of course, everyone has read Chekhov and Stanislavski.
The young theatre has already found its audience.
We've already seen 4 plays here, and this one will be the 5th. We often go to this theatre. It is quite original. My friends recommended that I go see this play. I'm sure it'll touch me in the deepest parts of my heart.
From classics to contemporary artists, in the Moscow metro you can hear buskers as well as well-known ensembles. But music is not the crown jewel of this subway. The Moscow metro is rightfully considered to be one of the most beautiful subway systems in the world. Here, 70 meters below the streets, passengers are welcomed by real underground palaces.
My station, Kievskaya, is excellent. I also like Revolution Square and Arbatska very much. I'm a native Muscovite. I've spent my whole life in Moscow, and those 3 are my favorite stations. It's very interesting. I'm here for the first time, and it's great.
Komsomolsky station on the Circle Line is the pinnacle of the so-called Stalin's Empire style. Its rich decorations and luxurious interiors were designed to welcome visitors coming to the Russian capital from one of the city's 3 main railway stations. Opened in 1952, Komsomolsky station is full of elements from the old Russian style. The barrel vault of its platform hall, chandeliers and the 8 mosaic panels depicting various victories of the Russian army throughout history. The station hasn't undergone any major renovations and therefore has retained its original appearance. If the metro is Moscow's underground landmark, then the famous building on Vohonka 12 is a hallmark of Moscow's museums. Every year, the Pushkin State Museum of Fine Arts attracts up to 150,000 visitors from Italy, France, Germany, the US and Asia. Professor Spiros Kiosis from Greece is visiting Russia for the first time. His hosts have prepared a cultural program for their guests, and their first stop is the Pushkin Museum.
I liked the harmonious combination of different cultures of the world and the harmony of art pieces in each room. I am amazed at how people of all ages come here to admire the exhibits.
International exhibitions have long become the trademark of the Pushkin State Museum of Fine Arts.
Over the past 2 years, we've had 2 interesting exhibition projects. One with famous Chinese artist Kaigor Chang, and another with Japanese artist Tadashi Kawamata. Both projects presented works by internationally acclaimed modern artists. These artists are in high demand today. They are quite interesting to younger audiences.
For the first personal exhibition of Chinese artist Kaigor Chang in Russia, the Pushkin Museum allowed its main facade to be hidden behind a huge installation. The exhibition Kaigor Chang October was dedicated to the 100th anniversary of the October Revolution. The Pushkin Museum is famous for its Impressionist collection. It was collected during the early 20th century by well-known art patrons Sergei Shukin and Ivan Morozov. These paintings by Picasso, Monet, Degas and others once decorated the famous merchants' estates.
We often exchange exhibits with other museums. This is a worldwide practice. Of course, the masterpieces of Monet, Picasso, Van Gogh And Matisse, well, they're in the highest demand by European and Asian museums.
Today, our museum owns about 700,000 works of different periods from ancient Egypt and Greek antiquity all the way up to the beginning of the 21st century. The collection is constantly being updated. It really is a cathedral to art, isn't it? Well, that's it. That's all we wanted to talk about in our first programme. Thank you very much for being with us. I'm John Harrison. Goodbye.